This is a Fox News alert. Things just wrapping up in the Herman Cain, Newt Gingrich primary debate. Here's a clip.
Joining us this evening, two candidates from the state of Georgia, Herman Cain and Newt Gingrich.
At this particular juncture, I'm supposed to have a minute to disagree with something that he said, but I don't. So I would like to instead, I don't. Medicare started in 1965. Our government told us that it was going to cost $6 billion to roll it out. We were also told that by 1990, it was going to cost $12 billion because of population growth, because of inflation. But in 1990, they missed the target of $12 billion. It wasn't 12, it wasn't 24, it wasn't 50, it was $109 billion.
What do we do about rising health care costs?
We have the best health care in the world. We have a health care cost problem. You're absolutely right. In order to solve the health care cost problem, we must use market-driven, patient-centered approaches. I've talked to doctors. I'm sure Newt has talked to doctors. Market-centered, patient-centered, market-driven approaches. Here again, you cannot micromanage healthcare costs out of Washington, D.C. It is impossible. Every program that we have that's been administered out of Washington, D.C., and a bureaucrat tries to make a decision that's going to impact a patient, a hospital, or a doctor, it's failed.
The mess of the health system is an everything problem. It's a federal government problem, it's a state government problem, it's an insurance company problem, it's a hospital problem, it's a doctor problem, and it's a patient problem. I mean, all of us have a hand in making this thing a total mess. I mean, think about going to McDonald's. We have no national hearings on fraud at McDonald's. I mean, think about it. You show up, you say, I'd like a quarter pounder with cheese. They give you a quarter pounder with cheese. You give them money. They are happy. You are happy. If you open up your bag and there's no quarter pounder with cheese, you're unhappy. And you go back and say, where's my quarter pounder with cheese? There's a direct relationship.
How do you get people off the entitlement rolls, and how do you turn this into an equation where when you say to someone, you're not going to make it at 65, you might have to be 66. We want you, if you have the wealth, to purchase a replacement policy. We'd like to have you take your health savings account and roll it into a life management account. Do you have some solutions on that end, the hardest decisions, the ones that will hit us first?
Why is it so hard for the Congress to decide that before you impose any penalties on honest people, you quit paying crooks?
Defined benefit plan or premium support?
A defined... You go first, Newt.
I think everybody would be interested as a CEO what your advice is to other CEOs and how they think about this.
My advice to them is something that I realized when I first became president and CEO of Godfathers in 1986, that if I didn't get involved in these issues, they were going to collapse our entire free market system. So my advice is quite simply to CEOs, don't play it safe. Get involved and be part of the solution. You've got some of us out there that are fighting, but we need help and reinforcement. What are the three biggest things that you have come to realize by being outside the bubble during this period of time?
Set very big goals with tight deadlines. delegate like crazy, don't let any experts in the room.
We're going to try to tackle the problem of Social Security entitlement.
If you have your own personal Social Security savings account and you want to retire early on a smaller amount of money because you're willing to have more free time, why would the Congress tell you not to? And on the other hand, if you are like Andy Rooney, who just passed away, having worked until he was 91, and you decide you love what you're doing and you want to stay active, why should the Congress tell you you can't? And so I think let's get politicians out of that decision process, return it to Americans, and let Americans control their own lives. I became Speaker in part because I told the truth to the House Republican Party for a decade, and it finally decided it was okay to become a majority. He became a leader at Godfather Pizza because he told them what it would take to really get the company to be successful. We have today a president, and compare him to Ronald Reagan, who told the truth. There's a great book called The Education of Ronald Reagan on lessons he learned at General Electric. And compare Reagan's ability to talk directly to the American people, make sense, and have the American people move the Congress with the current president. This president is about as candid and accurate as Bernie Madoff in what he tells the American people.